Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel. We'll spend some time with me today and watch the video. Really appreciate that. Guys, today I want to talk about what the bass do after the very first freeze of the year, in the fall time of the year. Now, depending upon what part of the country you're in, that could be anywhere between September to December. And like right here in Missouri now, it's October 14th when I'm filming this video, and we're supposed to have our first freeze of the year or the season tonight. It's supposed to be 30 degrees. And the bass they make a really big change at the first point of that first freeze. And I sort of want to talk about that in today's video, how you can take advantage of it. Also guys, I just wanted to show you also, before we get started, one of my favorite fall fishing lures, and that's this Megabass SV3 finesse spinnerbait. This is one of my favorite burning spinnerbaits for fall time fishing. I'll put the SV3 link in the description, and my Tackle Warehouse link in the description in this video if you guys would like to pick one up. But you can't go wrong. You get a cloudy day in the fall time of the year, throwing this little SV3 definitely get you some good bites. So link in the description there. Okay guys, one of the things about bass fishing, I love to study fish, and I love to see how bass change and their moods and their personality change based upon different times of the year. And I've always tried to pay very close attention to the environmental factors that make fish bite differently, or prefer certain lures or certain categories or certain colors over different things. And there's a lot of variables to that. I mean, you've got all of your light intensity situations, sky conditions, rain, sun, you got wind, sunlight angle, time of day, you got all that factors together. But one of the things that I've noticed in bass fishing in the fall time of the year, there's two things that take place that really cause the fish to make a big move and a big change in their mood and personality. And that's after the first freeze of the year, which again, here in Missouri is coming tonight. And the second is in the first snow of the year, which we'll talk a little bit in a later video. But specifically, I want to talk about what that first freeze does. Now, one of the things about this is, like, by the time October gets here, thermoclines are pretty much dissipated. So you have, the fish are able to use a lot of different depth zones. So they're really scattered out. That's one of the reasons fall can be a little bit challenging, because you got fish in a lot of different depth zones. But one of the things that I have noticed about this first freeze, now it's something that's probably ingrained in the fish on some biological, cycle type driven, basis. But when you have the first freeze of the year, a lot of people would think, okay, the water's getting cooler, it's going to make those fish move deeper because it's freezing out, it's 30 some degrees. This is what happens after the first freeze. I don't care where you're fishing, what lake, whatever it is. When you have that first freeze, you can expect the next couple days after that freeze occurs that there's going to be a significant portion or significant population of those fish move very shallow to take advantage of that first freeze and the drop in water temperatures. Now, when you have a freeze, the water temperatures may or may not drop significantly. A lot of it has to do if it's sunny out or if it's cloudy or what the following day temperatures are like. But anyway, when you have that first freeze of the year, usually those water temperatures are still in the 60s, maybe even lower 70s. Water temperatures here in Missouri are still in the low 70s, and it's going to freeze tonight. But when you first have that first freeze, there's some type of a shock that happens to the system. And I don't know what it is. I can't really explain it. I don't know if it has something to do with the forage that's shallow, the minnows, the crawfish that are shallow, whatever it is. But on some level, the bass react to that, and they move shallow and they get more aggressive after that first particular freeze. Now, the way that you want to take advantage of this, again, it's sort of counterintuitive. You want to fish a faster reaction lure the days after following a freeze. Now, a lot of people think, well, man, it's freezing out, maybe those fish are going to get lethargic. They're not victims of their environment to that extent. What I have found, after you have a cold night like we're going to have tomorrow, you can go to the lake and you can catch them on all of your reaction baits, your chatterbaits, your spinnerbaits, your topwaters, your crankbaits, in the shallowest water that they've been all year long. So I have no doubt, guys, that I could go down probably tomorrow or the next day, and I could put on a square bill crankbait. I could put on that SV3 spinnerbait that I just showed you. I could put on some type of a walking topwater. I could put on some type of a glide bait or swim bait. And I could go down to about any lake here in Missouri and Arkansas where I live at, and I could catch a lot of fish, probably shallower than I've been able to catch for the last 3 or 4 months. You know, I would expect those fish to be in less than 3 or 4 foot of water. And a lot of it depends on, you know, the sunlight conditions that you have fall on that, because sometimes if you have a cold night, it's preceded by, you know, wind and clouds, and other times it's preceded by bright sun. It just depends on the, I got to get Elijah to quit hammering this. Elijah, you want to quit hammering that for just a couple? I'm on the video here, okay? Okay. I just picked Elijah up at school about an hour ago, and we got little projects we work on, and it usually involves something sawing or hammering, so he's making a little noise there. So anyway, guys, you know, this is one of those things where you can't really overanalyze it. And I'm not saying you can't catch them on a slow bait a little bit deeper. There's probably, you know, because every fish is not doing the same thing at the same time. I may go down tomorrow after this front rolls through, or after this cold night comes in, and I may catch them in 3 foot of water burning the spinnerbait. And there might be some guy out there drop shotting them in 30 foot of water over 60 feet of water. But nevertheless, for all you guys that like to fish shallow and you target those shallow fish, pay close attention to that first freeze, because it will definitely activate those fish and get them going. Now, another thing that I have found out about it is, like, after you have that first freeze of the year, the topwater fishing may not be that great, but the other shallow reaction lures are. It's almost like the fish want to come up, but they don't want to come to the surface. And you will find, that we talked about a little bit when it snows before, anytime it snows in the fall time of the year or early winter, as long as that water temperature is over like the low 50s, it's one of the best times of year to catch them on a topwater. I catch a lot of fish on a topwater in the snow in November, early December, on a buzzbait, a walking type topwater, something like that. So fish are funny, man. They do what they do, and they live where they live. A lot of people, you know, they ask me a ton of questions about specific details on fish and how to catch them, and you know, where I need to be fishing at. But one of the things you need to remember about bass fishing is you should hang a plaque over your tackle room and say, bass are where they are, because they are. They don't read books. They don't watch YouTube videos. Bass are just where they are that specific day. And there's so much we don't understand about them, and we don't want to understand about them. It's okay. It's okay if we are puzzled by them and we don't understand it fully, and we can't figure it out. You want that. You need that unknown, and you need that magic and that mystery of not knowing everything about a bass. Because what kind of a world would it be if you knew exactly what the bass did? If you could go out fishing every day and you say, I'm going to go right here and I'm going to catch them right there and I'm going to catch them on this bait, and you went out and did it every time, that wouldn't be any fun. That would be like a living hell after some point. You want it to be tough. You want it to be a struggle, because when you have those days when you catch them, it makes it all that much more special. So anyway, guys, give it a try. First time you get a freeze, put you on a spinnerbait, crankbait, chatterbait, glide bait, get super shallow, cover water. Good way to catch a lot of fish that time of year. So hope it helps out. We'll see.